I'm Director of Professional Rugby for the RFU. That oversees the professional game agreement with the professional clubs. We have the championship as well. We also have the national team pathways, men and women, sevens. We also have operations in terms of referees, servicing the premiership and the wider game, but also working with competitions and events. I think we've started to look at international rugby in cycles of 4 years now. We didn't always do that. It seemed to go from game to game or Six Nations to Six Nations. But I think we all do now focus on the 4 years. Olympics much the same as well. The sevens guys are looking at a 4-year cycle, Olympic cycle. I think there's a World Cup cycle developed now where people early in the cycle are developing, trying things out, bringing players in, trying them, resting others, getting people back to full fitness, that kind of thing. And you see a different type of competition. We're also looking at the next World Cup cycle. We're looking at the 2023, we're looking at 2027. We've got to start looking a long way down the track. And I think that's a critical part of my role, is to start looking at what's coming up beyond 2019, beyond next year, beyond the Olympics. We've got to always be looking to the future and building for the future. So I think that's a key part of the role, is to start looking at our foundations and make sure they're very strong and that our professional game is sustainable moving forward. Well, we have a number of England academy players in our 14 national academies, or licensed academies across the country. The important thing for me is that they're getting great coaching, they're getting extremely good conditioning and analysis and all this kind of thing, but they're not actually playing enough games. So one of my challenges is to make sure they get plenty of games. I think competition is incredibly important for our young developing players, to develop them as leaders, to develop their game, to develop their understanding of winning and losing. And so I think it's essential we give them the right level of competition and the right amount of competition.
And England have the World Championship.
If you look at the statistics, about 85–90% of our national team have come through that U20 team. So it is a critical benchmark for us, for our young players, and it's a target for them as young players to get into that squad, to challenge to become full England players, whether to go into Saxons or to move up to the full national team. So I think it is an important staging post for us, and we'll continue to develop that as we move forward. We now have 48 contracted athletes into our women's programme for sevens and 15s. A lot of the players have come out of sevens for this next year whilst we focus on the World Cup, which gives us a chance to develop some younger players on the sevens circuit. Our 15s, I think, will be strong. They'll be training together on a full-time basis, which is good for us. They'll play more games. They've got a strong Six Nations opportunity for us. And I think the growth in the Six Nations this year will be significant. We have more broadcasts for everybody. All 15 games will be shown, in the UK. And I think that's a great step forward for the women's game. We have a fantastic professional game developing now in England, and obviously there's competition from a number of other sports as well. Obviously with the Olympics now as well, it's a lot of participation, a lot of athletes going into that particular era. Sevens is now an Olympic sport, which again is a positive for the sport. So I think we're growing on all fronts and moving things forward. It's not always about resources, it's about numbers of athletes playing the game, it's about the structures that support.